What's up, you guys? Good morning. I hope you're having a good day so far. I just wanted to sort of put out my message to the world today, and it's this. Whether there's a skill that you have wanted to learn, or a place you wanted to go, maybe a hobby you wanted to begin, a hobby you wanted to return to, a place you wanted to return to, something you want to do that is outside of your normal schedule of life, which involves going to work, coming back home, going grocery shopping, eating, sleeping, all of the regular cycle of daily life things that you do. I'm speaking about things outside of that. Again, a skill, a language, a hobby, a place you wanted to go, maybe just a single experience that you've wanted to have. Some of these things, if it's just an experience or a food you wanted to try or people you wanted to meet, a place you wanted to go, you might be able to right now, literally right now, you can turn off this video and begin planning that trip. Maybe this weekend, maybe it's not that far, maybe you can drive to one of these places that you wanted to go. If it's a little bit more complicated, right now, you can begin to just plan the idea of it and begin the process of maybe saving money if you need to save money to do that thing. If it's like learning a skill or a language or beginning a new hobby, right now, not tomorrow, not whatever, right now, you should start that. You should take the first step, whatever the first step is. The first step could possibly be gathering information, research, preparing yourself for, I guess, finding out what you need to learn in order to reach a certain level in whatever this skill is that you're interested in, or whatever the hobby is, or whatever. You need to find out what type of materials you might need and start collecting those, or start saving money in order to collect those. Or, in other words, what I'm hoping, what I'm trying to encourage people to do with this video is to actually start pursuing at least one of these sort of pending experiences that you have in the background of your mind. Oh, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to try that. I've always wanted to go there. I've always wanted to meet them. I've always wanted to do this or that, whatever. I know a lot of people, and I know I've mentioned this before, I believe I have in a video, and I will mention it again. I know a lot of people, older people, at the very least I could say they're in the second half of their life. Some of them maybe in the final quarter of their life. Some of them maybe even further. And I feel sad sometimes when I look at their life and I see that in some more extreme cases, all that it ever was, I mean, me on the outside looking in, their life just looks like all it ever was the daily stuff that I'm talking about. Work, sleep, food, chores, basic daily chores to live life, laundry, you know what I mean, going shopping. It's not that these people haven't enjoyed life, and they have social circle, they have friends, they laugh. It's not like it's absolutely miserable, but they never pursued their dream. And dream, that might be a kind of a grand word for this. Maybe they never had a dream, right? And maybe that's irrelevant. It's not about that. But even an idea, they maybe had an idea to go do this thing or to learn this skill or whatever, start that hobby, and they never did it. They just put all of their life force energy into the grind, which of course is necessary for most of us. People can't just say, oh, I'm just going to quit my job and go, plan that trip to wherever. Especially if you have children or people depending on you. It's not that simple. But it is as simple as taking the first step today. And maybe the first step is just brainstorming on a piece of paper, figuring out what you need to do in order to make that thing happen. But in many cases, when it comes to things like learning a language or learning a new skill or starting a new hobby, there is no excuse. There truly is no excuse. You can begin right now. There may be some individuals who truly are that busy that they just don't have the time. But from what I've gathered in the last several years of my life, having like relatively intimate conversations one-on-one with people, when I'm working with clients, a lot of people, and this is just one example, but a lot of people, they have a lot to say about shows. They have a lot to say about the new Netflix show and how addicting it is and how they can't get enough of it. And that's cool. That's awesome that there is a thing that brings you joy in life, because there are people who don't have that, or they can't find that, and they don't have any joy. They can't derive joy from such things, and they're miserable. So at least I can see the positive side of that. But what I'm saying is that so many people, they say I don't have the time, but they're filling their time with some of that. They're filling their free time, what could be free time, to learn a skill, pursue a hobby. They're filling it with nonsense, just superficial entertainment. And I am not speaking from a place of being above everyone, looking down on them, Mr. Guru man who's got it all figured out. I have my own addictions to technology and superficial entertainment, and I've wasted a lot of time doing that. I waste a lot of time in that general realm. But the whole point of this is just that you should start now. The longer you wait, from what I have seen, being on the outside looking in other people's lives, the longer you wait, the more likely you are just to give in and say, I'm not really gonna do that thing. I'm never gonna plan that trip. Yeah, it would have been nice if I had learned that language or whatever. It would have been nice if I got into that hobby or learned that skill or learned how to do this or that. But I just didn't have the time, and I had responsibilities, and I just had to work and grind, and that was my life, just grinding like a slave. And at least I provided for my family, and at least you did, and at least there are positives. None of this stuff is absolute, but you should pursue forget about hobbies and skills and trips. Experiences. There's an experience you want to have. Those are easily accessible usually, depending on how complicated it is. This weekend, you can have that experience that you have been dreaming about for a long time, possibly. The best things in life, in my experience, are very simple, and they are very accessible, and we have access to them all the time. Just a matter of putting yourself in that place or in that moment and having the experience. Beware of this thing, and I've made this mistake a lot. I constantly make it. Again, thinking about conversations with clients, I will mention or say, kind of trying to outline a broad, just a general idea of what needs to be done in order to get on the right track in terms of some issues that people are dealing with, some issues that people are having with their body. And I have the bad habit of saying, easier said than done, I know. Or I know it's easier said than done. And they go,
yeah, it is easier said than done.
That's such a horrible thing, because it's like, that's the first step of you just giving up. Telling yourself shit like that. Well, it's easier said than done. Yeah, I've got to find the time and I need to do this. It's like this fucking weird pattern that just starts to take you away from what would have been a path of progress and hope and puts you in this strange place where you just you accept defeat before you even try to fight your way out of whatever the situation is. It's easier said than done. Of course, the details matter. I'm speaking generally. But in my experience, in general, it really is just as easy as taking that first step and continuing to take more steps every single day and not skipping days. That's how progress is made, through learning a skill or approaching a goal or whatever. Even if all you have to do, maybe everything is easily accessible, all you need is the money. You can just focus on that, step by step by step, saving the money, and then eventually you can plan that trip and do that thing. But if you don't actually create that, like solidify that idea, you're never going to be saving money for that thing. You're never going to put it aside. You're putting money aside maybe for other things or whatever. And this brings up another thing, and this is, look, who am I to say how anyone should live their life? Anyway, this brings up another point, something that I see, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with it. It makes a lot of sense, and I think all of us should be thinking about retirement. You should have some kind of plan. I mean, you don't really want to live on the streets for that tail end of your life, right? You know, you want to have something, some way of living a comfortable life. But some people, maybe some of the people that I am thinking about, that never pursued a dream, never pursued a goal, never pursued a hobby, other than just grinding like a slave and building that nest egg and securing a retirement as far as money is concerned. And then in their retirement, all they do is like watch TV and shit. You know? Work like a slave, then watch TV and die. It's like tragic to me. It's very tragic and disturbing. But the thing is, like, there is no guarantee that you will make it to that old age. I have seen, and unfortunately I already know that I'm going to continue to see people that I know, sometimes people that I love, die young in unexpected ways for reasons that they had no control over and never could have had any control over, because of circumstances, because of accidents that it was just wrong place, wrong time, wrong situation, but they never would have known, and there's nothing that anyone could have done to prevent it. You can die at any moment. The thing is this, you shouldn't wait until that one day, whenever that is, unless the thing is this, okay, maybe a side note, some people have been on it, like really focused since they were young teenagers, and they might already be 28, 29, 30 years old and they retired. These people exist, and none of this shit applies to them. They've already been focused as hell this whole time, and they know what they're doing. And if I could go back in time, I would probably somehow try to encourage myself to get an earlier start with all of that. So that's awesome, and those people exist. But the thing for people who are gonna not even be able to retire until they're older, much older, I don't believe that it's the best idea to wait until you're elderly to have these experiences. Even if it's just a trip, you want to go visit a certain country. Oh, I'll wait until I'm retired and go do these trips. Number one, you might not make it there. Number two, if you do make it, you're going to be pretty tired. Old people, old bodies, I should say, are tired, typically. There are issues. You may have health issues. You may have joint pain. There's all these things that's just going to take away from that experience. It's going to be like nightmarish. It's going to be a drag, which is what I usually see in older people, is that some of them, there's exceptions. There's definitely exceptions, but some people, their whole attitude is now bitter, and it's like, I don't want to go on a trip. What do I want to travel, 12 hours on a plane for? It's going to be a fucking nightmare. And my pills, and I have to be on my schedule with my pills and this and that and like all these things, and it's like so they have so many reasons, like this web of things holding them down, where even if they did one day dream about doing this or that or learning this or that or whatever, it's not going to happen. That time it came and went, and they're living in a comfortable pattern, trying to survive and live out as comfortable as they can the rest of their days, and maybe hopefully being involved with family, children, grandchildren, and hopefully they have a positive life. But there are these experiences that people put off. I think you should do them now. I think you should start now. You should start today. And it doesn't matter what your age is. You can be elderly watching this. It just seems like from the outside looking in, it's more difficult for older people. They're much more set in their ways. than younger people. But then again, that could just be a personality thing. I don't know. The point is, you need to, in my opinion, this is my advice, start today. As soon as this video ends, or just turn it off and start either taking steps or just get in your car and go and have whatever these experiences are that you've been dreaming about or desiring, or even just had some curiosity about. Maybe it's not that big of a thing, like I need to do this before I die, but you're a little bit curious about something. You should probably pursue that curiosity and do that, because this is it. The time is right now, and if you let it pass, you can die. I mean, you might die this week. You have no idea. You might actually die this week. And does it even really matter ultimately? Like, will you be able to bring the memory of that experience beyond death? I don't personally believe so, but I have no way of knowing that. I don't believe that we carry memories of this life beyond the veil, so to speak. Maybe there are some impressions, but I don't know about that. And that's not the point. The point is, to me, that the only thing that I know is real is what's happening right now as I live and breathe and speak to this camera on top of this table. This is what's real to me. And I can have experiences in this space. I can learn skills in this space. I can gain new abilities through practice. I can learn languages. I can plan trips. The space moves with me when I'm on a trip. I hope that you don't live this kind of cyclic work, sleep, eat, shop life and never really pursue anything. And it doesn't need to be grand. You don't need to go travel Europe or whatever. You don't need to. It might seriously just be learning a skill, something simple, or relatively simple in theory. I've always wanted to learn how to crochet, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Get around to it today. That's my advice. You didn't ask for my advice, but I'm giving it anyway. Get around to whatever this stuff is. Start it. It brings fulfillment and satisfaction and joy. Maybe it's temporary. Or maybe you might be interested in a skill or a path that really has like eternal opportunity for growth. And those are really cool skills to learn. And maybe that's all skills. But we should always be in the process of growing in one way or the next. That's my opinion. And that's what I wanted to share today. Even if none of this got through to you right now and you just turn off the video and go back to your normal shit, maybe, I hope that I have planted a seed, and at some point in the future another person will water that seed, and eventually it will happen. Eventually something will click and you will start to pursue whatever these things are. And don't let whether it's your parents or your friends or whatever, oh, they're gonna think I'm this, or they're gonna think I'm that if I do this, and they're gonna make fun of me. You should not, number one, you should not have people like that around you. If you are dependent on people who make you feel like that, forget about everything else and solve that problem. That's the number one problem. Because I know that exists. There are people who they have people like that around them, but it's like they're living off of those people. So now what? Now you're fucked. You need to, that's number one, issue number one, the most, major problem. Get away from them, find a way out of that, and then you can begin the rest of this stuff. Yeah. Again, I hope I got through to some people. If not, that's okay too. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This was my message to the world today. And thanks for watching, as always. I hope you guys are doing well. And I'll see you in the next video. See you later.